Hi, my name is Joe Da Silva and welcome to my personal car garage. And today we're going to talk about some of the vehicles I have here and the person that's behind this vehicle, Carroll Shelby. Maybe some of you don't know, but that's coming later on the video. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a story about each one of these cars, why I have them and how I got them, so it gives you an idea to what's going on here. So we're going to go right to the back here. So a lot of you know my twin turbo Pro 5.0 car, and this one here started off as a 1992 Prototype Mustang. This one was owned by a good friend of mine, Anthony Polito Ford in Lindsay. He got it to build into a road racing car, and basically it was a body in white. It originally was painted like a cow, and it got to run through Detroit that way as an under disguise vehicle that looked like a cow. So this one here, since then it's been modified, I think 3 different times, from basically all original body that I had on it, fenders, doors, everything else was original from 1992 as a prototype for a 1995 Mustang body. So since then, of course, we still have the original roof on the car, and we have the original rear quarters. I apologize, it's behind my 15 here, and my brother actually has some of the original parts that came off this car. So some of the parts are on my brother's race car, and of course some of them have it, and this has been a really good car. It pretty well held a ton of records for the longest time. We ran 232 miles an hour, a quarter mile. We ran 620s. When nobody can make a turbo win on race day, we got to really do well with this car. Started off as a back half car, then became a full chassis car, stock wheelbase, and then of course we stretched the nose. And I really liked it, and I'll show you pictures down the road here on my wall, what it used to be when it was technically the way I liked it, the way it was. So this one here is my 2015 Mustang GT. So I bought this car from Ford. Before I even seen one, we seen pictures of it. So I told the dealer, please go ahead and order me one. Then I went to the SEMA show and I seen one in person. And I'm like, oh my God. I phoned my buddy at the dealership. I said, definitely gonna take the car, no doubt. So make sure you got one coming for me. So this one here, so we basically take a brand new vehicle and we build it up. One for myself, that's something happened there. One for myself, so this way I get to do all the testing, R&D development. This one has a Whirlpool supercharger. It's original Coyote motor in it. It's never been touched except for oil pump gears. Of course, it has the original transmission. It has literally over 60,000 miles, almost 100,000 kilometers. Of course, we added I-box suspension to it, original shock still on it. And, of course, it came with a Carroll seats as a track pack car, and it works really, really well. So this thing, definitely one of my favorites. Of course, blue is definitely one of my favorite colors, blue and red. And this one here has been one of my favorites, including my wife. She really loves this one. So when I met her, she got to drive it, and she really likes it. And it works really well. Of course, it has Borla exhaust on it, and it has the Cook's long tube headers. So this is a very, very fun car.
If I owned it, I would have vacuumed the carpet there, honey.
So the interior. Hey, I drive my stuff. I'm not sitting here for the next guy. So this one here has actually it's left my hands twice. So I've had this since literally late 2000. I had bought a 2001 GT from my buddy, and when I got the car, I guess somebody along the line cleaned the ice off of it and scratched the whole car. So when I got the car, I was disappointed. I'm like, well, I see all these little scratches. And I told my buddy Anthony, I said, Anthony, I'm not happy with the car. There was no problem, we'll get you another one. But I do have a demo that belonged to a Ford executive person. And I go, okay, let me see it. And basically I went to see the car. And this is an executive color. It's rare. I've only seen probably 5 other ones with the same color. A couple V6s and of course V8s. And this car was built, so basically I did it up back in 2001 with, we added the bullet brakes to it. These are real Cobra R wheels that Ford Racing sold, the real Cobra ones, not the knockoffs. And of course, then we painted the mirrors. And then, of course, we added when you could buy a 6-speed, and I figure out, open the, so this one here has a Paxton supercharger from my buddy Jerry Granatelli back in the day. And of course, chrome was in, so now you look at stuff chrome, it's kind of, you know, it's not in anymore, but this is the way I built this car. It was featured with all these things in as the Silver Edition 2000 Millennium Year Mustang. Of course, I added the Cobra R hood to it, and it's definitely today. It also has a 6-speed transmission from a 03 Cobra. And it's funny because I used to race the Cobra guys. I'm not gonna say it, but we did race on the street, and where they thought, okay, now they're gonna go to 6th gear, they're gonna leave me behind because they thought I had 5 gears, and then I'd be pulling on them, and I'd be going, it has 6 gears, and actually my wife used that against someone last time.
It got me into trouble a couple
that
times.
There has some history, and I'll show you some of the features that I've been very lucky that we've had features done on some of my personal cars. I feel when you have a feature done, it's like winning the lotto. Not everybody's had a feature done in their cars, and there was a time that the magazines only put my name in the magazine, but never really did anything besides that. And then it went from that to, okay, guys, you know, we kind of have to spread love to somebody else. I felt guilty being featured. So this one here, there's a story behind this one. So my first car I owned, there's a one before that. There was a Datsun 510, the Dodge Shelby Turbo. So my Dodge Shelby Turbo was fast, beat the hell out of the Mustangs non-stop, but a problem with the Shelby, it would puke out transmissions. Like literally, I worked downtown Toronto at the Toronto Stock Exchange, and I would be replacing transmission every month. So the dealer would put one in stock for me. I call him up and go, hey, I blew another one. I'm bringing a car to get one in. So on Ontario Chrysler in downtown Toronto, became really good friends with them. They would literally put a transmission in my Dodge, one a month. That's how, and I had got fed up. I said, enough's enough. I went out to look for a family car. Ta-da! Here's my family car. So back then I convinced that we should buy a family car, and it was going to be a Mustang. So I go to the dealer, Freeway 4, that I think they were on, oh my goodness, I think it was Morningside, north of the 401. And I walked up to the dealership looking at different cars, and I seen this one at the dealership, and you know, I'm looking at it, and of course the doors are unlocked, so I popped the hood, and I opened the hood, and I'm like, oh my god, this thing is a V8. Well, this one has a different kind of V8, so I was blown away. I'm like, oh my god, I've never seen, because I used to beat the GTs non-stop with my Dodge Shelby, but I never knew that it made a coupe with a 5-liter HO in it. So I basically looked at it, I'm like, oh my god, closed the hood, bought it on the spot, brought it home. That was my family car. So for the while there, I had the Dodge Shelby, and I had the Mustang, and of course, first thing I did, I ended up putting gears, bigger tires on it. Well, this one here, it's a pretty famous car. This one here has a Gen 2 Coyote motor in it, and it actually runs 990s and a quarter mile. It's a fun car, it's thick, and it really, really works well. And it's been with me, so it was gone to London, Ontario, to a family that raced it for about 7 years. And when I sell my cars, I go, hey, if you ever sell, call me first. Hopefully I get it back. And I got a few of them back. I didn't get all of them back, but I got some of them back, and that's one of them. So this here is, I don't know if you guys know, but Carroll Shelby was involved with Dodge for a while. And what made me buy one, so when I had my Datsun 510 that I wish I had one, because they were worth probably over $100,000. My brother owned it, and then I owned it, and I got, it was like Christina. I got rented 3 times in 3 different months. Like literally, the 3rd time I got rented, I got rented so hard that the car went up in the air. The bumper was in the back seat, and lucky that none of us were killed. It was at a crosswalk. I was stopped. I looked back because I'd been rear-ended twice before. So my instinct was to look in the mirror, make sure nobody was going to rear-end me. Sure enough, cab was coming my way behind me, not looking where he was going, and I knew I was going to get hit. At the same time, there was a pedestrian about to cross, And I said to myself, I ain't moving, because if I move, I run that pedestrian over, it's going to be on me. So I literally hanged on, got hit so hard, picked the back of the car right up in the air, shot me about 100 feet. Lucky didn't kill the pedestrian. And of course, the guy was charged, didn't have no license, and he was a taxi cab driver. And lucky I didn't get hurt. I was completely turned this way, and the car didn't survive. And I was getting the Datsun 510, because that car today is worth $100,000. So before that, I was driving that Datsun, and I got to a light by where I used to live in Scarborough, and one of these pulled up beside me. So my Datsun had like exhaust about that long, had a cherry bomb, and it was loud. It had 410 gears. That's the way they came with independent suspension. So it was a light, it was called like a tin can, like my tomato can. And it was pretty peppy for a little car. So I figured, I'm going to show this guy how I'm going to give him a beating at the lights. Sure enough, this Shelby smoked me. I mean, it was gone. I couldn't keep up with him. Like, what the heck was that? It just kind of just, through traffic, he was gone. I was embarrassed. I'm like, holy cow, did I just got smacked by that, whatever that was. So later I find out it's a Dodge Shelby Turbo. So I wanted to go buy a Mustang. I was at Donway looking at 84 SVO, and there's no way my parents were going to let me buy a Mustang. So for old school Portuguese, I don't know how they knew, but they said, no, you're not going to buy a Mustang. So I convinced them to buy a Dodge Charger. I didn't tell them really it was a Dodge Shelby Turbo Charger. I just told them it was like a Dodge car. Didn't really tell them. So when that says, okay, you could buy it on one condition, that you have all the money before you buy it. So I bought it in basically almost the fall of 85. And the car came in the middle of the winter. I was not allowed to pick up the car until spring. So I would go to the dealer and I would clean the snow off of it. I go see it. My car was at the dealer, but I could not take it from my dad. Would not let me bring it home until spring. So I had to sit at the dealer. That was the deal we made with it. And then that's how it started with the Dodge Shelby. And right away, of course, I started doing work to it. I put an intercooler on it. This one's number 2. So the original one, I ended up selling it to somebody I still know today. And then for some reason, he didn't want to sell it back to me. He ended up selling it to somebody else. I was pretty upset with that, but I moved on. Years later, I found this in Amish country. A guy had it. He had 6 kids, went over to buy the car. The poor guy, the wife had like 6 kids. She's like, sell the damn thing, they needed the money for their kids. So, I told the guy, I said, man, I know I came a long way, but I don't have to take it. I know you probably love this car, but I want it. And I bought it on the spot, and I've had, so this is number 2. It had originally 60,000 kilometers. It's original paint job. The only thing that painted was the back bumper. And it really is in great shape. And if you look at the interior, it's a fun. So it's a 2.2 turbo. And I will actually show you guys. So it's a tiny little motor, but these motors worked. I'm a big fan of the 2.2 turbo. Then I ended up buying it. My dad had a minivan, a 2.5 turbo, and I put an intercooler on it to smoke the tires for 100 feet. That van was unbelievable because I would smoke the tires, and the cops would be looking for some sports car. But it was my minivan smoking the tires. So I get away with murder with that van because nobody ever expected a van to do that. So this is a 2.2 turbo. These things, that beating these motors took, they're probably one of the best motors. I had a ton of K cars, K wagons, had a 2.2 non-turbo, and they were great everyday cars, and some of you probably own some. But this is a cool car that I had a lot of fun with, got me in a lot of trouble, and it definitely, for a light car, it was fast for the 80s compared to, say, a Mustang. It definitely gives them a run for the money. They're light, so they made 146 horsepower, and then I figured out how to boost the turbo using, if you guys ever seen that for the blood drip at the hospital, there's a little valve, and a friend of mine worked for the hospital, and he got me a valve, and I figured out one of the vacuum hoses how to bleed out the boost. So I learned how to take it from whatever 10 pounds of boost to 14, 16 pounds of boost. Of course, did a dual exhaust on it back then. Back then, I put the Daytona crab wheels on it, so I did the same thing to this one. Probably the most Hardest thing to get is get these wheels in good shape. So these, you probably wouldn't give $20 for 4. I bought these, had them powder coated at Gorconi's. I couldn't believe how nice they look, so I still have the original wheels, the original steering wheel. I got all the original parts for this vehicle. So it's one of my favorites. It's I've been offered to sell it, but I want it. I don't want it. So it's one of those vehicles that really I enjoy. Now, one of my dream cars, I was going to build one, buy one. I had a good friend of mine, Todd, had an Aurora Cobra sitting outside his front of his garage in Scarborough. He was a police officer, and I said, Todd, sell me that car. No, I can't do that. And that thing ended up sitting in front of his garage for over 20 years. So I never got it. I was going to build one. I was going to buy one. This one came up. It belonged to, became really good friends with him, Brian Webster. So Brian Webster bought it in '08 when the economy collapsed. He bought it at an auction. He got a really good deal on it. And then he had some issues where the car would cut out, wouldn't run. Car came from Texas, so this is a super performance. Came from Texas with an automatic. And everybody kind of, I don't know if they made fun of him, but he had enough. So he wanted to put a 5-speed in it. So he came to us, we put a 5-speed in it. We fixed all the issues with it. The car was perfect. We dynoed it. It made 440 at the wheels. It is a 347. It's not a real one, a real Cobra. It's a 347, and it makes 500 at the flywheel, 440 at the rear wheels. And I call it a scary cat. So it's really fast. So we finished tuning it, did all the work, and I just threw it out there. I just had finished selling my RV, and I said, hey, Brian, you want to sell that thing? And I was waiting for the F word, to beat it. And he's like, yeah, my wife doesn't like it, and I think I need to sell it. And I literally, in a minute, I go, okay, how much? And I bought it on the spot. So basically, I bought it from him. He goes, okay, I need to go to an exotic car show with it on Sunday, and we'll talk Monday, and we'll figure the details out. So Monday comes, I'm calling him, I'm anxious, this is my dream car. He's not answering the phone. I'm like, great. He went to the car show, probably told somebody he was going to sell it. Somebody offered him stupid money, more than I offered him, and he probably sold it. But finally, he called me back on Tuesday. We made an arrangement. So I picked it up on the Wednesday, brought it home, parked in my garage. True story. I grabbed a chair. I sat in front of the car. I opened a Corona beer, and I teared like a little baby because it was my dream car. I've done 2 for other customers, never had my own, but this thing is really a lot of fun, and it's a very dangerous car. So this car here, it literally weighs 1,900 pounds. It's very light. It's very fast. So back in the 60s, they used to call this the Witterer. So this has not a 427, but it's a 347, but it makes as much power as a Stroker 351. It's really stout, and it's a lot of fun, and it sounds really runchy. I've had people literally jump onto the middle of the street to give me thumbs up with this car. This one here is a super performance. They're very hard. I don't think you can bring it back into Canada anymore. They're banned from coming to Canada for some reason. Somebody messed that up. There's a story to that, but it is really cool. A couple different reasons is I've met Carroll Shelby, and I'm going to tell you the story about that because you guys are probably waiting to know more about how I met Carroll Shelby. I actually met him multiple times, and he's a very humble person, Carroll Shelby. So we went, this is in the 90s, I would say probably mid-90s. I went to SEMA. I knew Jerry Granatelli, so I went to see SEMA. I've never been there, so I went to SEMA. And then when I got there, shooting the shit with different people, and I was at J.R. Granatelli's booth. And J.R., he's a character. You could take some things that, is believable. Some things I'm like, yeah, whatever, you're bullshitting me, right? He was a joker, and you didn't know sometimes if it was real or not real. That's the relationship I had with JR, and he was a character, and we're still good friends today. So we're sitting at his booth, and then I see Carroll Shelby walking by, and I'm like, oh my God! I go, JR, there's Carroll Shelby, and he's a good friend of mine. I'm like, yeah, whatever, sure he is, right? And he's like, no, he's a friend of mine. So he goes, hey, Carroll, come here for a second. So Carroll, I said, let's go over there. He goes, oh, no, he'll walk over here. So Carroll walks over, and JR goes, hey, this is a good friend of mine, Joe Da Silva. I want you to meet him. And we started talking. So it was a one-on-one conversation with Carroll Shelby, and we're back and forth talking about different things. And for somehow, we got to the conversation because I was born in Africa in the middle of the jungle. And that really kind of got the conversation to the next level because Carroll Shelby owned a plantation in Africa. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. And that really opened up a conversation that we talked for probably over half hour. And I tell you, it was unbelievable that here I am talking to such a legend, somebody that never thought that I would have a one-on-one conversation. And of course, I have a picture of, that you guys probably like to look. This is my family in Africa. So my brothers and my two brothers and sister, my parents. This is in Angola. This is the Peugeot pickup truck. And amazing, Carroll Shelby kind of was involved with Super Performance. It was, these bodies were made in Africa, and I guess you would ship them up. He was involved as part of the Super Performance. He allowed them to be licensed under the Carroll Shelby, and everything pretty well is you can't tell them apart. It's pretty close. I'm not 100%, like I'm not one of those guys who know everything about the AC Cobra. I just love to drive. I want to drive. I want to beat the hell out of it. I want to enjoy it. So, some people, you talk to them, they know specs and when they were made, and I'm not that guy. I just want to get in it, turn the key, fire up, and head out, and really, really beat on my cars. I don't save my cars for anybody. I've taken this car, I've gone everywhere. I've gone grocery shopping with it. I've driven it out in the country, city, downtown Toronto. So I like to drive my cars. Please don't save them from the next guy. Enjoy the vehicle that you have. And I try to drive my car, different cars all the time. Sometimes some don't get driven as much as they should, but I do my best. If I don't, I know my wife is ready to drive them too. So, right, Carrie?
Oh, yeah.
So, and I'm going to show you guys some of the stuff that I've done here. I've been really amazed. So I'm going to go over my wall here. I like to collect different things. So this is my first feature I ever had, Muscle Mustangs. This is the mullet days. So basically there's just a back half, basically I semi-tubbed the car. It was just a 306 with nitrous. So that was really cool feature. I remember waiting for it to come out on 7-Eleven to get my copy. And that really, it was amazing to get a feature done. It took so many years to be able to get into the groove of everybody else, be one of the guys from, Pro 5.0, and, I was kind of an outsider, I was Canadian, but that's one of my coolest features I've ever had. Of course, this is in Texas at a race. One of my guys forgot to put the cap on the fuel cell. It's in front of the car, and it flicked off, and it caught on fire, and it was crazy because I never get off on the first turnoff, and I did, and some little girl was riding her bike, and she pointed down like fire. And I'm like, oh my God, get out of the car. Lucky I had my Zeus fastener tool, pulled the front end off, and I beat the fire out with a jacket. The good story about this is I ended up winning the race. Thank God. That burned a couple wires. My crew chief was like, what the heck happened? I said, you don't want to know. So here's my Pro 5.0 car. So this one was my favorite. Stock wheelbase. This car was literally standard. It was stock wheelbase. This car ran 650 flats, like a bracket car. We came out, we built this car in 2001, so we had a break. We came out to run Fun Forward. We won the last 3 races of the year. We set the ET mile-an-hour record and won 3 races back to back to back, and finished number 2 in points. If we had one more race, we probably would have won the world championship, but we missed it by 1 race. But that's just part of life. So. There's another feature they did when I won the NMRA, when I was winning everything. I won 5 out of 7 races, and I would have won probably 7 out of 7. Of course, some of the things, I had an injector driver that went bad. That was one, and I don't know what happened with the other one, but we set every record for a stick car. People were blown away that we could win. So it was pretty cool. And we had a lot of magazine articles that were done on the car, from 5.0 magazine to Super Ford. Of course, didn't matter what I did. Events at St. Thomas, we definitely had different magazine articles. This is the transformation for the red tomato can from being a stock all the way up to when I raced it professionally. So that's pretty cool. So I kept that. I always had pictures from everybody. People send me pictures. And of course, it was featured when Matt turned 16. We went to Florida, and the 86 had a feature done, him running his first 10-second pass as he turned 16. And of course, there's another Super Ford article. We went over to the other side there, just to kind of give you guys a little bit. Lots to talk about. I like collecting stuff. I don't even know who took this picture, but it's pretty cool. Just me and my zone. I would sit there and just try not to be nervous when I was racing. Always try to stay calm and trying to win the races. Of course, this one here was done in one of the NMRA races. Another feature later, I got that done. So I thought I was going to get any more features done ever, but we always seem to pull through. This is the silver edition that we did, the 2000 GT that was featured in 50 magazine. And of course, it just goes on and on. I don't want to bore you guys too much, but kind of give you an idea, the stuff that I collect. And there's another one there with track events that we did at St. Thomas. And of course, that was at a gathering of the Pro 5 driver, the reunion,
yes,
right?
The reunion.
So they don't know, but I stole that sign. It was one of the signs. No, I asked the guys from NMRA if I could take it. They let me have it. So that was what they had on display, and I had the car there. So it was a lot of fun. Definitely meeting everybody. And I got so many stories that I could tell you, and I'll tell you at a later date. And that's what our channel is going to do. So if you like some of this that you're hearing now, please just follow us and press like. And I'll have more stories. First time I met John Force here in Canada, you won't believe how crazy that was. And I'll tell you that story another day. And of course, I've been very lucky. I've met people like Chip Foos and a whole bunch of others that I've been lucky to meet in my world. So thanks for listening, guys. Please follow our channel, and I'm hoping to have some more corny stories about my life. So thank you for listening. I appreciate it. Have a great day.